We can finally end the years-long debate as to who the number one wide receiver is in Green Bay. It's clearly Christian Watson. The last time that Watson played the Chicago Bears was back in January when he tore his ACL just before the start of the playoffs, putting his status for 2025 in jeopardy. Instead of the injury costing him an entire season, the fourth-year receiver returned in less than 10 months, making his debut back in October, but Sunday's game against the Bears was his best performance of the season. Watson only had 4 catches in the game, but he made the most of those opportunities, going for 89 yards and a pair of huge touchdowns for Green Bay's offense. In just 7 games, Watson has already racked up 25 catches for 452 yards and 5 touchdowns. Those numbers are impressive in their own right, but considering that Green Bay's entire offensive identity are these balanced, slow, methodical drives with chunk plays sprinkled in, it's the efficiency for Watson that's even more impressive. Since returning, Watson is averaging 2.47 yards per route run, which puts him at 8th in the NFL ahead of names like George Pickens, Jamar Chase, and Jalen Waddle. Along with that efficiency, Watson has also logged 0 drops and 10 contested catches, making him the most well-rounded receiver on Green Bay's roster. Those 0 drops mean a lot for Packers fans, considering the ominous start to Watson's career, when on his first opportunity as a rookie, he dropped what would have been an 80-yard touchdown. It's clear how much Watson's development has meant to the team, but also to head coach Matt LaFleur. Here's what he had to say after the Bears' win about Watson and his development.
You know, he is a dynamic player, and we got to continue to find ways to get him the ball. He had obviously 3 pretty explosive plays, the 2 touchdowns, and I'm just really proud of how he is. What happened a year ago versus Chicago Bears, and how he's responded and how he's worked to get him into a spot now where you go out and you see what he can do, and got a lot of love and a lot of respect for Christian Watson.
The return of Watson has opened up Green Bay's passing game, but it's also allowed them to keep their foot on the gas in a tight NFC playoff race, despite early questions about what this offense would look like following the injury to tight end Tucker Kraft. So let's dive into the film of Watson's big game against the Bears to show you just how dominant he really was in today's episode of Best Available. Thank you so much for watching today's episode. Make sure that you are subscribed on YouTube if you're not already, and follow us on socials at BestAvailableYT. We have a ton of draft content coming now that the college football season, or at least the regular season and conference championships, have wrapped up. We've got the playoff coming up. Go Hoosiers. But if you are a big fan of the draft and want some additional content beyond just the recurring videos on this channel, I highly consider that you become a member. For just $2.99 a month. You'll get access to multiple benefits, including full access to my NFL Draft Big Board, which is constantly being updated. It is quickly approaching 100 prospects. You can watch in real time as that big board grows, just to see the process that goes into it. So highly encourage you, as another way to support the channel, consider becoming a member. But if you are here, I know you're here to watch Christian Watson, and I don't blame you. So let's go ahead and dive into that tape. We only have 6 plays to show you in today's episode, and that's just simply because the Packers don't play a lot of offensive snaps, especially in this game. The Bears did control the second half pretty drastically, and the Packers also just don't have a lot of snaps for each wide receiver. Matthew Golden and Dontavian Wicks, I think, each played 5 snaps apiece in this game, maybe 5 or 6. They have 6 or 7 wide receivers on this roster that can play significant playing time. So not everyone has to play 100% of the snaps, but it's pretty clear by snap counts that they want Watson on the field as much as they can, despite, limited opportunities in the context of this offense. The first play that we are going to show you is not even, a play that the ball is going to Watson, but that is part of playing wide receiver. Just because you're not getting the ball doesn't mean that you're not playing an important role on any given play, whether it's, opening up things for your teammate, playing a part in the run game. I wish we had some more run blocking reps from Watson in this game, because I do think he is a plus run blocker. And if you follow this channel, you know how much I enjoy wide receivers who can block. But we're going to have a simple rub route here. This is a 3rd down near midfield. We're going to face a pressure look, and we're just going to have Watson come across the field, and he's just going to try and get in the way of defenders as Reed comes across the formation and runs a flat route. So as we roll this, we're just going to see Watson's plan of attack. He's getting an inside release. He's going to go here. He is just finding who has ID'd Reed coming across the formation, right? And as we let this roll a little bit, it's clear number 35 is the guy that is covering Reed. So this guy is trying to get across the formation and break down on Reed before the sticks to prevent the first down. So Watson's entire job here is I need to get in the way of this guy. And I think he does a great job of that. So he's clearly not running a route. He's flat-footed. He's not sprinting. He's not running some kind of mesh concept or drag route. He is simply trying to get in the way of this corner. But you can't make contact with him or it's an OPI, right? So all you have to do is just get in the way and sidestep around him to avoid that OPI penalty. And that's exactly what Watson does. And it gives Reed just enough space on this third down. It's a 2-yard gain, but first downs are lifeblood in football. I know everyone wants to talk about this touchdowns and field goals and things like that, but it is so important to keep moving the chains. It is the number one, success factor, in my opinion, for a successful offense. But we'll just show this one more time. I just want to watch how this is very clearly not a route by Watson, but it is a perfect job of getting in the way and forcing that tougher angle on the DB just to give Reed enough space to make this play. That's just an outstanding job by Watson on the rub route. One of the bigger things I've noticed with Watson this year is how sharp and decisive his cuts are. Again, this is a guy that tore his ACL this calendar year and has played, 7 games at this point. He is having a hell of a comeback. It's such a quick turnaround on his ACL, and I was not expecting the cuts to be this sharp, but this is a great example of it. We've got Watson at the top of the screen. It's not a huge game, but I love the timing of this route. We are just trying to snap this behind a zone drop that is just trying to get out into the flat. And as you see Watson's eyes, he is snapping as soon as he can get into the space inside this zone. Look, he is snapping his head back before number 9 is even able to attack the flat. He just has that kind of awareness and timing with Love. It's a first down play. We just need a successful play. We want to get, at least half those yards, 40% of those yards. And so we get 6, which is, an awfully good first down play. But I just love the sharp cut, the timing on that, how decisive that is to know where that defender is dropping in his coverage and to snap right behind that. I just think that's an awfully nice play. And anticipation, the chemistry between him and Love as well. It's a really effective play on first down to just keep moving the sticks. I don't mean to keep moving myself on the screen. I'm just trying to make sure that I stay out of the way of Watson's plays on here. So I enjoyed this one quite a bit. He's going against Chicago's number 1 corner, Jalen Johnson, who I have a ton of respect for. I thought it was incredibly classy of him last year when Watson tore his ACL in the Bears game. He prayed for him as he was down on the field. I have the utmost respect for Jalen Johnson, both on and off the field, but he is a hell of a player to be going against. And here, this is just an awfully nice release from Watson at the top of the screen, going against that press alignment. Jab, some stutter steps at the line, that release, get Johnson, off his heels or on his heels, unsure of where you're going to cut. Get that clean inside release, and then it's just this sharp, decisive cut here to snap off this route. I paused it a little bit, made it clunky, but the sharpness, once you have that inside release against Johnson, to then get to your route stem and create a little more separation. And then this is what Watson's calling card's always been in the NFL, is this is a big body with straight line speed, and he can win a foot race against guys to pick up some additional yards. I mean, he gets it at the 25, that's another 10 yards after the catch. Just a really nice, sharp, decisive route from Watson. You don't need, on a play like this, you don't need to be going, changing up your tempo. You just need to get out there and haul ass. And I think he does a great job of that, hauls it in, takes what he can get after the catch. I think it's a really successful play. And a huge one for the Packers, who were pinned deep in their own side of the field. And instead, they completely flip the field just on this play alone, getting all the way to the 35-yard line. Not sure you get a more obvious cover 0 look than this before the snap. We are seeing all of these guys at the line of scrimmage right, and then we see these 3 safeties. And based on alignment of these guys, it sure does feel like, we're just getting a cover 0. And cover 0 means there's no safety help over the top. I know we see these 3 deep guys, but it's man on, man on, man on, and this corner is going, and then we're going to have man coverage on this guy. That is a pressure look if I've ever seen one. And, with this corner blitzing, it's a pretty clear tell. We've got Watson as the number 2 receiver. So we got 1, 2, 3 here. He is the number 2 receiver to the field side, or the wide side of the field based on the hashes. With the ball being on this hash, this is the boundary, this is the field. But we got Watson here on a cover 0 look, so it's a look designed to generate as much pressure as possible, and then you're just hoping that your guys on islands can make up, can at least cover for long enough to, generate pressure. And here we've got Love, dropping back, and he sees this cover 0 look. This guy is delayed because he's watching this tight end in case he releases. Watson's speed is just going to make this impossible for this defender right here. This poor man has no luck on a cover 0 look like this to cover. I mean, his flips are slightly flipped to the sideline, just ever so slightly. Watson's not giving away his route. He is pushing this vertically at the guy that he has man coverage on until he breaks right here. And at that point, with his long strides and his speed, this safety has no chance to beat him across the field. And it's a simple fadeaway shot for Jordan Love against pressure. Just flicks it. Watson wins that foot race. We'll play it again. Just watch Watson sell this vertically, plant on that foot, not giving that away until he decides to commit to the route. And then he's just, the Bears defender has no chance of keeping up with this. And, if Love's not fading away and is, throwing this a little more zip and hits, Watson in stride, that Bears defender never gets close. But, Love has plenty of time to make that throw. He feels that it's a cover 0 look, and he is the master of the fadeaway ball at this point. It's just awesome to see that this version of Watson is still there post ACL injury, is this big, long striding receiver who can beat anyone in a foot race. Because, man, is he the perfect man coverage beater against pressure looks like this one. It's just unfair. All right, it looks like we have another pressure look on here. We got man, potentially man on this tight end, and one single high safety. And then you notice all of these bodies lined up near the line of scrimmage. We know some pressure is potentially coming. Love actually checks this play pre-snap. And what we're going to get is just a flat here, and then a great release on a quick slant here from Watson. Watson right here. His stutter release into the go here with that pressure look, even with the way this corner's hips are flipped, he should have no problem following Watson on a little slant here. But that release against press cooks this corner. He waits until the corner tries to stab at him with those hands, and he's so explosive off the line that the corner's left whiffing. He's so focused on that lunge, he's caught off balance. He doesn't have the recovery athleticism to catch up with this little slant. That's plenty of cushion for Watson. This safety's so worried about single high and just getting depth. By the time Watson gets this ball, he is completely out of position. He saw the go route from the bottom of the screens trying to catch to that. Suddenly, Watson has the ball here. More green space than, any wide receiver could dream of. And at that point, with Watson's speed and long strides, no one's catching him. It's the perfect play call on third down, especially on a team that's had so many issues this year on third and short, trying to run shotgun runs and things like that and being very predictable with it. To run just this, fade, flat, slant, and just open that up against man coverage. I think Matt LaFleur put Dennis Allen in a blender in this game. The Bears defensive coordinator, Dennis Allen. He knows Dennis Allen likes to throw, pressures and heavy man coverage. And granted, it's something the Packers really struggled with in previous years, but it's why I've said that Christian Watson in this video is Green Bay's wide receiver number 1. They have their man coverage beater. It is Christian Watson. And boy, did he step up in a big game on plays like this against man, create that separation, and then just take off for the races for his second touchdown of the game. Just excellent work. Great athletic ability and play speed, but also just a great call on third down by the Packers. Last one of the day, but this was one I was really interested in because I feel like it's something we might see again in future games. We've had a lot of Dontavian Wicks and Christian Watson this season as insert blocks. So they're going to motion inside, and then they'll try and hit a linebacker or a safety to create another gap for the running back to see, give them more options of where they want to cut off of, especially because Watson and Wicks have been very successful run blockers in their time in Green Bay. But what I like here is that this is not actually a run play with this insert. We're actually going to run a play action, and it turns into almost kind of a chip and then a delayed release from Watson, number 9 right here. As we run this, he has that chip. The defender's so unready for it that he just gets tripped up. And then we have this man coverage look. And so I like that we're running play action off the insert block. But this route right here is once again opening up a play for Jaden Reed like we did earlier in this video. By running this and distracting Jalen Johnson, there is no help. I think that's Jalen Johnson. I apologize if it's not. It is. By delaying this and creating this separation, Jalen Johnson's not paying attention to anything potentially coming behind him. I know it's a man coverage look, but sometimes you can peel off on these plays. But this route is opening a throwing window behind for Jaden Reed right here. And I just think that's a great play design. Really, really enjoyed this. This is an 18-yard gain on just a look that the Packers have given all season as far as these insert blocks. The Packers are such a run-heavy team. I really enjoyed this concept, and one I hope to see more in the future because it's a tendency breaker for Green Bay. And those are the kinds of things I think Matt LaFleur is so good at in big moments, and I need to see more of that this year because it really feels like the offense is starting to click. I still remember being frustrated with Watson during his rookie season on how, clearly athletic this guy was, but the drops were an issue. I didn't think he was that great in contested catch situations, all of that. He has developed into this complete player that the Packers were really banking on when they traded up in the second round to get him. And man, is he making Brian Gutekunst look smart. What a terrific man-beating, big-bodied, long stride, explosive threat the Packers have on their hands, and it's doing a lot for this offense. Can't wait to see how the season ends for him. Let me know in the comments what you think about Watson's season so far and what you're expecting from him going forward. We will be back on Wednesday with our Shades of series, and then Friday, we're going to do some draft coverage. I promised you that. We're going to go over my top 10 players in the draft. I'm going to give you some breakdowns on these guys. I've got some names that you're probably not expecting in my top 10, but I'm really, really excited to break it down. So thank you so much for watching today's episode. Go Pack Go if you're a Packers fan watching this, and we will see you on Wednesday.